What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today, I want to talk about, again, these delusional black folks that are, campaigning for Donald Trump. And the reason why I spend so much time on it is because it's the clear and present danger at the moment, right? It's the clear and present. At one point, FBA and that whole ideology, when they were going extra super hyper xenophobic, was the issue, right? But right now, our issue is the MAGA black people. They're worse than the xenophobic African Americans, because the African Americans who are xenophobic, they're xenophobic only because they're afraid of what they don't understand. They're afraid of, they're just afraid and they're unknowledgeable, right? They get the benefit of the doubt. But when you when you start supporting a political figure, right, you're just taking a stance, right? And if you're taking a stance, you should be taking that stance based off of actual, actual information, knowledge, record and all that stuff. And for the life of me, first of all, let's get this straight. If you're not ready to pack up and go to Africa and leave America behind, right? And if you're not ready to take arms up and get you and your few of your buddies and overthrow the government militarily to get rid of institutionalized racism, then it's going to be politics. So in America, the way it works is you got two parties that's powerful enough to make effective change: the Democrats and the Republicans. Every other party is insignificant because they don't have the backing, they don't have the money, they don't have the size to make effective change. So you're either going to be on the Democrat side or on the Republican side, period. So people come to my channel talking about that whataboutism. They're acting stupid, like when you go into that ballot box, like you don't have two realistic choices, not like some idealistic choices that'll make you feel better, but you just went in there and wasted your goddamn vote. Now, I personally never really had a problem with Republicans, right? And I'm very specific when I'm talking, and I know some people are not smart enough to comprehend what I'm saying, fully to understand what it is that I'm saying. So I would try to keep it as simple as possible for those detractors, because they can't be, to be a Trump supporter, you have to be lacking in a lot of comprehension skills. You have to be, right? Because you guys are supporting a fuck you candidate. Trump was a fuck you candidate. The reason why black people voted for Trump, because, the short memory in American society is amazing. It's getting shorter and shorter. And social media knows that. That's why TikTok's so famous, right? So popular. You guys forgot that the only reason black people supported Trump was to say fuck you to Hillary Clinton. That was the only reason. The only reason people supported Trump is because Bernie Sanders got screwed over by DNC and they were like, you know what, Bernie or bust. You guys forgot about that. You forgot Bernie or bust. And we was like, you know what, we're going to vote for Trump just to say fuck you Democrats for fucking over Bernie Sanders. That was the reason for voting for Donald Trump. But here's the problem with Donald Trump, because I never actually had real personal problems with Republicans. Back when they were Republicans. Back when a conservative was a conservative. But they're not anymore, right? They're not anymore. If you were actually paying attention to what happened yesterday, you would see that the conservatives just fought the other conservatives and kicked their Speaker of the House out of his chairmanship. He's no longer the Speaker of the House. Never happened. In 240-something years in this country, there's never been a speaker that got deposed. But leave it up to the MAGA Republicans, 5 MAGA Republicans disrupting the process of government, right? Fighting the regular Republicans. Because here's the thing. Most 90% of the regular Republican Party are just regular conservative or regular Republicans. They're regular. They believe in regular small government and lower taxes and regular everyday conservative values. There's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? Just like you got your everyday boring Democrats or centrists and all that stuff, they're just boring. There's nothing sexy about these guys in the policies, right? Then you got your super weird, super ultra liberal, right? In each political party, there are multiple parties with multiple different ideologies. Let me say this again. In political parties, there are multiple sub-parties and ideologies within that party, right? And it's up to the voter to vote in the particular individual that holds their particular ideological view, okay? In today's current Republican Party, you have an authoritarian group of people called MAGA. They're not about democracy. You see, you can say fuck you Democrats and Republicans all day because they make you feel good as an unpowerless voter. But the fact remains, we need both these piece of shit parties to operate this government effectively. Just like every other country got their piece of shit parties that they complain about and say F them both, but they need those government to function effectively in order for the country to move forward to progress. Whether you believe it or not, America is progressing. We are improving and evolving and things are changing. Good things are happening despite the shit that you see on TV, right? Despite the shit that you see on TV, the Democrats have actually passed a lot of really good legislation that has benefited you, your family, and the people around you. But you don't care about that. You don't actually care about policy. MAGA people don't care about policy. Because if they cared about policy on their shows, they would talk about actual policy, right? If you cared about actual policy, MAGA, black conservative Republicans, you wouldn't support the Republican Party because their policies is to disenfranchise your black ass. And their policies is to make sure that your vote means nothing. Their policy is to make sure anytime a person that look like you takes any type of power, that there's a leash around their neck and that they do what it is that the greater Republican Party wants to do, the center of white power in this country. Look at every single black Republican politician and how they got treated by their own party when they just merely suggested that maybe in Florida they shouldn't take away black history, which is American history. If you're a MAGA, that means you support taking away and stripping black American history from America. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. If you support MAGA, you support taking away black history from America. You support that. If you are a MAGA Republican, period. No argument. That's who you support. If you are a black MAGA, that means you don't care about the military and you have no problem being disrespectful to the military. You have no problem disrespecting disabled veterans, which I am a disabled veteran, by the way. You have no problem with your Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, disrespecting a general who served America for 40 years. Say what you want about America's military, but I've never met any type of military on the face of this earth that wasn't a tyrant to somebody. That's just the way it is. Militaries are meant to fight. That shit is not. There's a reason why. Military, they're meant to kill. That's their job. And despite what they get sent over there to do, they do a job. And that's just what it is. The person you worship and praise disrespects disabled veterans, disrespect POWs, disrespect people who've been to war several times and led men in battle for 40 years. That's who you support if you're a MAGA supporter. Donald Trump's chief of staff, the person that knows him intimately better than anybody else, and if you know anything about the chief of staff basically does everything for Trump. On behalf of Trump. He's like one of the real engines of power within the government. His own chief of staff came out. And you know what I'm going to do? This is what I'm going to do. Because maybe you guys are not plugged into real news. You're too busy watching your echo chambers. So what I'm going to put right here, I'm going to put what his chief of staff said right here.
John Trump.
No other president has had so many former top aides making such harsh public assessments. Most recently, Cassidy Hutchinson.
I think that Donald Trump is the most grave threat that we will face to our democracy in our lifetime and potentially in American history.
She joins a growing chorus.
I think he's unfit for office.
He will always put his own interests and gratifying his own ego ahead of everything else.
Thank you.
And today, Trump's longest-serving former chief of staff, John Kelly, is chiming in with his harshest criticism yet. In an exclusive statement to CNN, Kelly says about Trump, "What can I add that has not already been said?" Calling President Trump, quote, "a person that has no idea what America stands for and has no idea what America is all about." For the first time ever, Kelly sets the record straight with on-the-record confirmation of a number of damning details about Donald Trump from background sources, including from a 2020 Atlantic story, reported with unnamed sources by editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg, including the stunning detail that Trump turned to Kelly on Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery in 2017 and asked, "I don't get it. What was in it for them?" This is Kelly confirming on the record stories of Trump insulting Senator John McCain and former President George H.W. Bush because in Vietnam and in World War II, respectively, the former aviators were shot down. Kelly describes Trump as, quote, "a person that thinks those who defend their country in uniform or are shot down or seriously wounded in combat or spend years being tortured as POWs are all, quote, suckers because, quote, there is nothing in it for them. A person that did not want to be seen in the presence of military amputees because, quote, it doesn't look good for me. A person that demonstrated open contempt for a Gold Star family, for all Gold Star families, on TV during the 2016 campaign. And rants that our most precious heroes, who gave their lives in America's defense, are, quote, losers, and wouldn't visit their graves in France. Kelly confirming on the record a story reported in the book The Divider, where Trump tells Kelly he wants a military parade, like one he saw for Bastille Day in France, except he does not want any wounded veterans. Kelly confirming that Trump in 2018 in France refused to visit graves of Americans killed in World War I. To CNN, Kelly calls Trump a hypocrite, saying he is, quote, not truthful regarding his position on the protection of unborn life, on women, on minorities, on evangelical Christians, on Jews, on working men and women. And he concludes Trump is, quote, a person that has nothing but contempt for our democratic institutions, our Constitution, and the rule of law. He concludes, there is nothing more that can be said. God help us.
He's doing a great job as chief of staff.
A stunning repudiation by a man who worked side by side with Trump longer than any other of Trump's many chiefs of staff. Kelly also criticized Trump for saying that former Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley should be executed. In a departure speech on Friday, Milley responded,
"We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator, and we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator."
Some of the people who know Donald Trump the best now warning of the threat they think he poses if elected in November 2024.
All right, so after you heard that, that was his chief of staff, somebody he hired, a military veteran, leader, chief of staff, said that about Donald Trump. But you blindly still follow Donald Trump as if he's a good guy. You know what you black people do? You take Donald Trump and you give him, you turn him into something that he's not. People take Donald Trump because he's a cult of personality. The only reason you like him is the same reason y'all like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton smoked some weed, played some saxophone. Y'all made him the first black president. So Donald Trump been in a few music videos back in the day. He let your favorite Negro out that make music promoting death and destruction in your community. Oh, so now he cool now because he let out the black people who promote death and destruction in your community. And he's a kind of a gangster. He don't give a fuck. He don't apologize. So, you know, yeah, he's cool. He black now. We'll give him a pass. That's how ignorant the mindset of some black people are in the hip hop culture. You guys, the same people that worship Donald Trump also worship these dumbass rappers that's telling you to go sip lean and go kill your neighbor. That's what y'all do. That's who y'all worship. Y'all worship that type of shit. So y'all see Donald Trump being a gangster, being a pariah of the community, y'all galvanized to a piece of shit like that. When that piece of shit don't give a fuck about you. And what do y'all like to play? Whataboutism about Biden. I didn't vote for Biden. I don't like Biden. But he's doing a regular job because he's a regular politician that at least believes in the structure of the Constitution, the framework of America. At least. Most politicians who are corrupt, by the way, Democrat or Republican, because there's no such thing as an uncorrupt, unfallible, perfect politician, because if that's you, you'll never make it in politics. You might as well sit the fuck down because nobody will ever see you. You will never make any effective change if you go in there being a goody two-shoes Care Bear, I care, and I'm going to do everything right, Power Ranger. That shit don't work in the real world. All right, that's not realistic. Right? But you guys want fantasy. Y'all want fantasy. Donald Trump is your fuck you fantasy to everybody, to the system. But the thing is, we need that goddamn system. We need this fucked up shitty ass system and them fucked up shitty ass party to operate in a fucked up shitty ass way, because it was designed that way, to move slow, so that there's no vast changes in political realms. So there's no vast changes in the structure of society. That's what makes this country work. The chaos, the gridlock, the shit that we complain about. And that's the truth. That's the truth. But you guys don't know shit about politics. That's why you hanging on to Donald Trump, who don't know shit about politics. He was a laughing stock around the world. Nobody respected him because he don't know what the hell he's talking about. He don't read security briefs. He don't read any briefs. He knows not how to run government. He built 55 miles of a fucking wall. Do you know how long the southern border is? It's impossible. That's why we haven't done it yet, because it's impossible. They like to say that shit. Republicans like to say, we're going to build a wall. They're never going to build a wall. It's impossible. And it don't work. It's a waste of fucking money. And that's the truth. They can't tell you that because y'all don't want to hear that shit. So they pander to you. That's why the Republicans are in the situation they're in now. Because they pandered. It all started with goddamn John McCain and getting that dumbass chick from Alaska, Sarah Palin. They got that one dumb chick on there, and because she's talked so stupid and she's so stupid and simple, the dumbasses galvanized towards her. But you see, you black people didn't galvanize towards Sarah Palin. Y'all knew how stupid she was, right? But she was just an archetype. And then when Obama won, white people were so mad that black person got in the office. It doesn't matter that the rest of the white people in the office made sure that he couldn't do shit when they said it out their mouth. What was you gonna do about it? Not a goddamn thing. And then when he got out there, they were so mad, they said, fuck it, we're gonna vote for Donald Trump. The mascot of misogyny, authoritarianism. That's why they have Antifa, anti-fascist, because Donald Trump is a fascist. The MAGA movement is fascist movement. The MAGA movement is a pre-terrorist organization. I'm telling you, this is how domestic terrorism is built, because the Republican Party been pandering to their low information voters for years, telling them that it's the black people, it's the Spanish people who is the bane of their existence. It's their fault that the Republican Party in Republican districts, Republican states, Republican cities is the people that's underneath the Republicans' lives are like shit. Is because the well-to-do who are Republicans are the ones making their lives like shit. So what they do is they pander and say, no, it ain't us doing it. It's them black folks and them brown folks, so that they don't get the blame. And they created these dumbass groups that concentrate and galvanize towards people like Sarah Palin and his MAGA group, and ultimately Donald Trump. And they voted for him because he might as well be the mascot of white nationalism. Even though Donald Trump himself is so selfish, he don't give a fuck about white nationalism, and he don't give a fuck about black people. He don't give a fuck about nothing but Trump. He's about Trumpism. He don't care about nobody. That's why historically, Donald Trump has thrown everybody that supported him under the bus. Yet these people blindly support a Donald Trump who will absolutely, positively, 100% guaranteed not repay the loyalty back to you. How many people have went to jail underneath Donald Trump? Have any of you dumb-ass black conservative MAGA Republicans paid attention to how many people that went to jail because of Donald Trump? Remember, if he's supposed to be so goddamn smart, he's supposed to make decisions on the best cabinet members, the people to put in his administration when he got in. Why is it that almost every person that he picked in his administration, that he picked, Mr. Smart, Donald Trump, that's a businessman, and that's why y'all voted for him? Why is it that every single person he picked either went to jail because of the actions they took while in his administration, or they 100% rebuke him as a president and say he has no business being in the White House? Why? Why is it that anybody that worked for Donald Trump will tell you he ain't shit? They're all saying it right now. Why? Yet you still holding on. The Republican Party is trying to get rid of Donald Trump and MAGA. Because if it wasn't for them, they created it. But if it wasn't for them creating that cesspool of racist, piece of shit, bigot, xenophobics, idiots, then they wouldn't be in this situation. But so now they got to do something about it. Now they got to do something about it because they created that shit. Just like the Democrats created these rainbow-haired mofos, and now we gotta listen to them. It's the extreme people on both sides. MAGA is extreme. And the thing is, MAGA don't run government. You put MAGA in there, it's just like some of these countries we complain about in Africa with these piece of shit ass governments. They got people in there that don't know what the fuck they doing. They just taking the money and doing what they want to do with it. That's what MAGA is. That's what MAGA is. That's what you want. For what? Y'all don't know what the hell was going on in the government. Y'all don't actually watch the news. You'll see all this shit happening to Donald Trump. You think it's some deep, the deep state consists of the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, the Department of Justice, NATO, the G20, China, and every other fucking country that got something to say about Trump. So the whole world is conspiring against Donald Trump by himself because he ain't never done nothing wrong. Is that what y'all really gonna sit here and say? That he doesn't go way over the line. That he is not normal. And the people that he inspired that crept their way into government because they live in places where they only need 15 motherfuckers to vote them in, and they got power in the Congress and the House, right? Because they live in a state, they only got 20 people in there, and all 20 of them Republicans, right? They got power. You let these dumbasses in here, and they ruin the structure that we need to survive. And like I said, if your black ass ain't about ready to pick up some guns and fight for your revolution with 5 of your best friends, and if you ain't ready to pack up and go to Africa, then you gonna have to deal with one of these parties. And right now, the Republican Party ain't nobody to deal with. They got to deal with their own shit before we can go back to dealing with them. Right now, all we got, to be honest, is the Democratic Party, despite the shit that they do. But at least they're not trying to destroy the Constitution and destroy the way the government works. So we need to let the Republicans clean their own house, and then we can get back to actually doing business. Did y'all hear Matt Gaetz get mad because the Republicans had the nerve to work with the Democrats? You mean actually do the job of government? That's why he got kicked out, because he dared to actually do his fucking job. That's how ridiculous this shit is. That's why he is no longer the Speaker of the House, because he actually did his job, working it with the other side. That's what's supposed to happen. Both parties are supposed to work with each other, even though they have differences. They're supposed to meet in the middle. We supposed to get something we want, they supposed to get something they want. That's how it works. But when you got a party that don't want to govern at all, they want everything their way, like an authoritarian fascist regime. That's what they are. That's why I'm gonna bang on any idiot black person that got the nerve to talk about Donald Trump. If you're a black conservative Donald Trump supporter, I have to question your ability to make decisions. I have to question your ability to comprehend information when it's available. I have to comprehend your ability to even look for and seek out true information. I have to question your ability for everything. Because if you can't turn on any random news network that's not Fox and see what the hell is going on around you, then I don't know what the hell you're doing. Stop talking about politics and go back to watching the NFL, NFL, and watching all reruns of Martin, because that's all y'all good for. Y'all have no business in the political process or coming online talking about anything politics or going to anybody's comment section looking and sounding like a fucking clown. Because you're supporting somebody that don't give a fuck about you, never gave a fuck about you, never was on your goddamn side, and will throw you under the bus like he throws everybody who support him and went to jail for him under the bus. So that's just what it is. Anyway, that's all I got to say. This Afro Think Tank, learn some, teach some. I'm out.